Hey guys, Daryl here, hanging out in headquarters today, ready to sit down and answer some more of your reader submitted questions. I'm going to go through a couple today, try and knock out, I think I have 4 or 5 here I want to try and get to today, and hopefully get back again next week and do some more. Just remember, keep submitting your questions. You can either do it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/sorroweternal, or shoot us an email, sorroweternalblog@gmail.com. Last week, we tackled stuff like the website and stuff like that. So let's see what we got this week. First question here is from Randy. And Randy wants to know who our favorite band is that we've discovered in doing the site. That's a really tough question. It's really tough to narrow it down to one. I mean, I can think of a handful off the top of my head, bands that I listen to frequently, if not all the time, just from hearing their albums, either reviewing or having someone else on the site review it. So I'll throw a couple out there at you. Appalachian Winter, obviously what Dan Klein has done. Wouldn't have heard of his work had I not been doing this site. Don't even know where we came across it in the first place, but very glad that we did, because now he has some of my favorite songs of the last couple of years, and his album this year is easily one of my favorite of the year so far. Blizzard at Sea. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of theirs. Both EPs they've put out, both Invariant and Individuation, fantastic. Really looking forward to the new album that was recently funded on Kickstarter, Certain Structures. Fister, which is kind of a bizarre small world kind of story, but they're absolutely one of my favorite bands in the doom genre, and kind of wish everyone would listen to them at some point. North Song. What Cortland Runyon's doing is fucking awesome, and he's got his new album out, which you should all check out, The Final Journey. So I would say that's a couple of the bigger ones, and I don't want to seem like I don't. There's probably 100 more I should name, but just obviously just trying to give you a couple off the top of my head. So thank you, Randy, for that question. This question here, all right. Well, it's signed Varg. I'm sure it's not the Varg, but if it is, please don't bomb us. I would appreciate that. But Varg writes, he wants to know how much work went into putting out the first sampler, and will there ever be a volume 2? How much work went into it? A lot of work. And I mean, at that point, there were 4 of us really who were participating in the site. I was trying to put together the artwork. We had Christine was here, and she was trying to get bands to commit to doing it. The hardest part is obviously, we're trying to put out a sampler. We're doing it with our own money, and no one's getting paid. So obviously, the artists on the sampler aren't making money. All we were doing is trying to get a sampler out there, both with our name and their names on it, get some exposure for us and them. And all we wanted to do was make our money back, which we've essentially done that, which is good. I was very happy about that, and I think we spread the word to some really fucking awesome bands along the way. You can actually still get it. We're kind of winding down the last 6 months of our license with a couple of the bands. I think this Christmas is pretty much when the sampler will cease to be, at least this one. So make sure you get that. You can get that on our Bandcamp site, sorroweternal.bandcamp.com. You can really get some good stuff. As far as Volume 2, I'd love to. But like I said, it's it's a money thing, and we were putting down our own money to do it, and we're not trying to make money. We're not trying to become millionaires off it, but we have to be sure that we're going to make our money back on the investment, which is it's tough this day and age to sell albums. So I'd like to, and I'm hoping that I can put together something again in the next year or so. So obviously, if you want your band on there, we try to keep it to bands that we've reviewed favorably, obviously, because we want to spread the word of bands that we like. But keep your eyes out. You never know. So thank you, Varg, and again, don't bomb us. This question comes from Melissa, and she wants to know why I've spent so much time hating on Spotify lately. If you guys have read any of my rants on it or listened to the podcast about it, you know that I have a lot of problems with Spotify as it stands right now. I actually recommend. I had linked an article months ago to a site called The Tricordist. It is a gentleman who was in the band Cracker, which most of you won't remember. But he's been very upfront about his feelings on downloading, and now he's actually talking about royalties from digital music. And he's actually, this one in particular was kind of aimed at Pandora, where for 1 million plays of his music, he got a check for $16.28, and that's fucking absurd. Now, some sites pay more. Spotify, I think he got a check for $100 or something for hundreds of thousands of plays. So it's not really doing the bands much more good than people downloading. And I get it, it's something. If you want to look at it, from that perspective, it's something more than nothing. And that's a good thing, obviously. The band is getting something, but it's not enough. And it's not enough for bands to stay viable. And I know Pandora is saying that music costs too much, and that's why they can't pay out more, because it's costing them too much to keep it. Well, then maybe it's time to stop doing it. If you can't give a fair share to artists, then it's time to stop. And I'm sure things are going to change. There's more services launching. I know Beats, the Dr. Dre Beats company, is doing a new service. I think it's supposed to be out this fall. Trent Reznor is, I think, attached to that one at this point. And then maybe it'll change. But, it's the royalties. I want to see artists get fair pay. And I also want to know, if how they can make sure that small artists, because the whole thing is it's exposure, right? You want your music on there so people will find you. What are they doing to make sure that happens? And that's what I don't see. They launched the Pink Floyd catalog on Spotify, and it got 1 million plays of the album Wish You Were Here in the first week, and that's how they unlocked the new content. And that's great, but if it's based on percentages of plays, then doesn't that mean that adding more major artists then decreases the pay for smaller artists? Whatever. That's my problem with it. There will be more time for me to talk about this at some point, and I do hope that you guys educate yourselves as much as I try to educate myself. And obviously I don't have all the information. I've sent out communique about that and haven't really gotten many worthwhile responses. But keep an eye on that, because it's going to change over the next couple months and years. So thank you, Melissa. Next question comes from Adam. He wants to know what speakers and headphones we use in the headquarters. I'm not really sure about Brian at this point. I know Justin was really set on Shure headphones, Shure. He's more into the studio sound. Speaker-wise, most of my listening and writing comes on my desktop, which I have. It's a Logitech 5.1 channel stereo surround sound system on here. I like to try and get as much of the full sound of an album as I can, so that's my preference, is to listen to it there. Obviously, in the car is another option. My car speakers are not nearly up to the same standard. Headphone-wise, though, it's really a matter of preference and really a matter of what style of music you're listening to. Obviously, Beats right now are the in thing. They're the hot headphones, and I think they're fine. I think they sound good, but they're very bass-heavy. And I think that kind of hides a lot of stuff in metal. You don't want too much bass, because then you're going to miss out a lot of the intricacies of guitar and keyboards and whatever. You'll miss that. But I do have a pair of Beats. I've used, Sennheisers. I've used Skull Candies. I've used Soul Republic. Soul Republic ones I actually really like, very comfortable. But, like I said, it's really dependent on what you're looking for sound-wise. And fit, because I can't use buds anymore, and I don't even like the sound of buds anymore. I prefer over-the-ear headphones, but that's, again, it's all a matter of preference. So thank you, Adam. But the best thing to do, honestly, if you're looking for headphones, is to go to a store, Best Buy, FYE, Target, whatever, that has demo models set up. You can try them out, and you can see how they sound for you. And the best is when they have demo models set up with just an open jack that you can plug in your phone or MP3 player, so you can listen to what you want to listen to and see how that sounds. A lot of times when they have demo models of stuff like that out, they have pre-selected music on there, so you can see how these headphones sound with those 3 songs. But if it's not 3 songs that you're interested in or have ever heard before, how do you know how they're supposed to sound? So definitely get yourself a good pair of headphones. You probably won't regret it. It's always nice to have around. Let's see, one more question here. Thank you to Adam for that one. One more question here comes from Paul, and Paul wants to know how we feel about downloading music, where we pay for downloads, etc. The actual answer to that is I do not download a lot of music, with the exception of promos that are sent to us from labels and bands. I usually grab those so I can listen to them wherever. But for the most part, I try to rip everything in my collection from CD. I'm pretty dedicated to V0 MP3 quality. So my whole collection is ripped in V0. I know there are better. There's obviously 320 kilobytes per second. There's FLAC and all that other stuff. But I've been on V0 for a while, and maybe I'm a dinosaur and I just refuse to change. Either way, it's very, very enjoyable for me to hear music in that quality. But as for me, most of the stuff I do pay for to download, I actually pay for from Bandcamp directly from the bands, because I want to give them my money. And at least that way, when I get it from Bandcamp, I know that I'm getting the album I want, no other crap attached to it. I can get it in whatever format I want, whether it's FLAC or V0 or 320 or V2 or whatever. You can get that, and the money minus 10% goes to the band. So it's I don't pay for downloads from iTunes or the Zune Market or Amazon. I'd rather just own the CD and rip it myself, which I do. I actually just got done ripping a huge stack of stuff that I bought. So that's kind of that. I mean, obviously you can get downloads in whatever quality you want from wherever you want them. They're out there, but it's all a matter of preference on that. This is really all a matter of preference. I don't know if I've said that enough. So there you go. So thank you, Paul, for that question. Very interesting question there. So that'll do it for this week, guys. Another 5 questions out of the way. I only have about another 100 to sift through. I'm trying to not do repeats. I'm trying to make sure I hit questions that I think would be an interesting answer for you, or an answer to a question that maybe I haven't really thought to bring up before. So another 5 done. Keep them coming. I really like doing this, actually. It's kind of interesting. It gives me something to talk about that I know some of you will at least listen to, and we'll keep doing this as long as you guys keep sending in stuff. So until next week, guys, keep them coming, keep listening, keep reading the site, and I got some fucking great stuff coming for you guys in the near future, so keep an eye out. Alright, see ya.